Good evening, Wizards Nation. What's good, y'all? I figured I should hop on stream because I didn't do a video yesterday. But I want to talk about the current state of our Washington Wizards because, as we all know, we went on a stretch where we won 7 out of our past 12 games. But since the McCollum trade, we've been getting wrecked. 3-game losing streak by 19 points or more. Seems night and day. You know what I mean? We talked about this a little bit. We're going to stream on Sunday. But I want to hop on this and evaluate this 12-game stretch for us that we had, which things were looking very positive for us. And then now this 3-game stretch, you know? So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I truly appreciate it. But before I continue, I want to show you all this comment that this dude made, or dudette, I don't know. Because I want to start doing this in streams as well, not just in my normal videos. But this person said, live or ride, and I completely agree with this. And somebody else commented saying that this dude's the shit, you know what I mean? Said, losses don't matter, but I'd rather see Riley than Middleton. Enjoying Trey's efficiency, Sarr's rebounding. This was after Sarr had tied his career high 15 rebounds. Bilal's defensive consistency, and Bub's production off the bench. ATL beat GSW with CJ scoring punch off the bench so they can feel better about the trade. Middleton reminds me of the song chorus, quote unquote, get out the way for Justin Champagny. Get out the way. I don't know if this this shows my age. Get out the way for song chorus. I'm 32, so I feel like I should know this. Anyways, completely agree with this. I want to see Riley get at least 20 minutes a night. I think there's no excuse now. Especially if Chris Middleton's gone. If they waive him or, they trade him, buyout, sorry. We talked about Trey's efficiency, how he, I believe he went 8 of 13 against the Suns. Sarr's rebounding, we talked about that. Bilal's been defensive playmaker for us. And obviously, we want to see him continue to improve his three-point shot. We know this already. And Bub as well. Completely agree, and shout out to this person. Granted, the Wizards, Bullets Forever, actually, not Wizards, Bullets Forever. Shout out to the Bullets Forever. They dropped this beautiful article today that highlights our 12-game stretch and to see just how good we were. They put it into, obviously, as they always do, and I believe it was Kevin Broom who dropped this article. Yep. Dropped the stats and all that fun stuff. So basically, it starts off here saying that, it's time for a Wizards checkup. After a 5-2 binge, we talked about the 7-5 over the 12-game stretch. Our record still is 10-28, which is now 4th worst winning percentage in the league. Granted, I will admit, I just checked the NBA Tankathon and I saw last night's games. Dude, the Pacers are on a winning streak. Holy hell. As a matter of fact, we are 1 game away from being tied with the worst record in the league or within that percentage. 1 game. Everybody else has 9 dubs. We have 10. Just tossing it in there. And we're going to talk about it as always. At the end of the stream. I won't try to keep the stream below 30 minutes. Anyways, Kevin states that he pegged us as having or winning 15 games this season. I pegged us to have around 23 dubs before the season started. Also, I think we're going to get 23, considering we won 18 last year. And considering if we went to 15 from 18 last year, wouldn't that show that we regressed? You know what I mean? And that would have been somewhat of a it should be a cause of concern. But he states this. Over the 7-5 run, the team posted an offensive rating of 114.8 and a defensive rating of 115.8. Both were just about a little bit below league average, he says. That's obviously genuine improvement. We talked about his defensive rating, especially at the beginning of the season. The net rating was horrific. It was historically ass. You know what I mean? So I guess going from historically ass to just, right around or right beneath league average, yeah, I'll take it. But still, he goes on to say, this is not to say that we've become a league average team, but rather that they're probably better than that. Yeah, we talked about worst ever tag that Wizards fans can have real reason to hope that we might be decent to good in the near future. Better measurements of team strength are related to scoring margin, efficiency margin, and strength of schedule, adjusting the scoring margin. I will admit, during that 12-game stretch, y'all, we weren't beating the cream of the crop. We were beating 500 teams. Then again, we weren't beating the worst of the worst either. So again, it was, we were beating the Grizzlies, the Bucks, the Magic. It's all like around the 500 level team. So I guess, that's somewhat of a positive, I guess. Like we weren't beating on just horrifically bad teams. So take that with you will. He goes on to bring out more stats here that I don't want to like, how you say, blow your mind with. But I have in my notes. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to the Tankathon real quick here. Because I feel like the past couple of nights has blessed us. Like, tremendously. When I say we are within reach of having the worst record, the Pacers are on a 3-game winning streak. We are on a 3-game losing streak. The Kings are on a 2-game winning streak. We play the Kings on Friday of this week at 10 p.m. And considering that, how we've been playing, like, I wouldn't be surprised. If we lose, and then we can, leapfrog the Kings to the third. So I'm just saying, dude, like this whole, like, people were kind of like, obviously some people were pissed off that we were winning. And I agree with the overall initial feeling that people were feeling during that time because, obviously we want to keep our pick, but here's where I stand on that. And I've been saying this in my streams for a while. We needed to see that stretch, though. We needed to see winning basketball with our young Bucks. That 12-game stretch, to me, is going to be imperative for next season and going forward. And I hate saying that because I don't like small game samples. I don't like I don't like taking too much into account regarding just small samples in general. But things have changed since that 12-game stretch. We're reconstructing our roster as we speak. We might even have more trades. But within that stretch, our young Bucks were leading the way. Like I said, Alex Sarr, Trey Johnson, Bob Carrington, Bilal Coulibaly in his defensive playmaking. You know what I mean? It's not like our veterans were leading us to win those games. No. Maybe McCollum hit that game winner, of course, against the Bucks, but that stretch was fueled by the guys who are going to be here for the next 10 years. And I keep thinking this to myself. If we didn't have that stretch throughout this entire season, and odds are that we're probably going to have not maybe something like exactly similar to that stretch later on this season, but we're most likely going to go maybe like on a 2-game, 3-game winning streak again, after this team finds footing with their current lineup. But if we didn't have that stretch to show us a glimpse of what's possibly to come in the near future, I feel like there would have been some sort of legit reason for cause of concern. That stretch is going to invoke confidence within that locker room for next year. We see Alex Sarr not even talking, but glazing the Wizards front office, the roster construction. He is genuinely excited about this team's future. And I feel like that's a product of that 12-game stretch that we had. So when I wasn't mad when we were winning those games because I figured, dude, we're going to trade our veterans. We're going to trade McCollum. We're going to trade, maybe even Bagley. I don't know. I don't know about that. I feel like they're taking offers, but I keep thinking to myself, I just feel like next season, the Young Bucks are going to be referring back to that 12-game stretch and be like, hey, man, do you remember that time when we were whooping ass? We went 7-5 on the Milwaukee's head. We freaking owned the Grizzlies. Remember that during that time? that's going to be reverberated. It's going to be installed with these teams, with these guys throughout the offseason. We needed that glimpse, especially considering how November was to us. I have here my notes. And like I said, and how Kevin Broom articulated in that article, how ratings-wise, we were still, during that stretch, around middle of the pack, both offensive and defensive ratings. But, it's right here. I don't know, man. I feel like we already know the deal for this season. The deal was, hey, man, develop the young bucks and keep the pick. That stretch is going to be evaluated. And I feel like also at the same time, while Trae Young might not play, if at all, this season, I feel like he's going to play 5 to 8 now. I originally said 15. I feel like as each day goes by, I'm just like, I'm docking it down by 1 game. But they're going to want to see Trae Young play, obviously, with Alex Sarr, these young bucks, get a feel for them. To me, it's just like at the point where these games, these remaining, 44 games now, they're very imperative. They're important for our future. These young bucks, like I said, that are on the lineup right now, besides Middleton, everybody else is 22 years old or younger. And all the 4 guys, Keyshawn George, Coulibaly, Bub Carrington, or no, Bub, he's not starting, Trey Johnson and Sarr, like those guys, ideally, they're going to be here for the next decade. They need to start gelling. They need to start, honestly, they need to start living without CJ McCollum. They need to decide amongst themselves, hey, man, who's going to be the alpha moving forward? And the fuck? I feel like somebody's talking behind me. So while we will be losing, and this month might be rough, really rough, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if we finally start finding our footing with this new lineup with our young bucks by, I don't know, mid-February, something like that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, while we will be losing, I keep thinking to myself, these remaining games are games that it's going to be super, super valuable for the young bucks of our roster. Get Will Riley experience. Get Jameer Watkins in as well. Young Mill said he wants to see Jameer Watkins. You know what I mean? Depending on what they do with Marvin Bagley, I mean, the Vooch is right now on a two-way. I don't even know if the Vooch is going to be here long term, but they're going to have to get another big in there, so it might make Vooch to a standard contract. But I don't know, man. I just clearly I feel right now that a lot of fans are waiting for Trae Young to play, and obviously I'll toss myself in that camp. But we all know the deal. We know the deal. Trae Young knows the deal, actually. If you heard it in his introductory press conference, they asked him, hey, man, when are you coming back? This man was just like, I don't know. I'll leave that up to the Wizards front office, management, He was actually, they tweeted that he was actually at the practice today. This man was, looked like in very good spirits. But, patience is virtue. Patience is key. I guess I don't know. I think right now we're mid-January. We got, 3 more months left of this game. I mean, it's a season, sorry, not game. Fuck. It just has me thinking. I'm just like, man, we're gonna be losing, but let it not take away from the importance of these games and the experience that it's gonna be, super valuable for all these players that are gonna be here for the long term. Ken Lewis says Trey could be our SGA. Thoughts? I think they're different type of players, though. I don't think, SGA is more on ball. Trey's more off. Also, Trey developing his playmaking as well, which I feel like during this time, like we have witnessed. Well, let me pull this up real quick. During this time, we have witnessed Trey Johnson with Alex Sarr operating in the pick and roll, which is lovely to see. But Trey Johnson, hold on. The month of January, averaging 2.8 assists. Had 5 assists against the Magic. December, it was 2.1 assists that he's averaging. Never mind that, though, man. I see it. Like, he's also getting paint touches as well, which is lovely to see from a guard, from a Wizards uniform. Yeah, dude. That's one thing I'm just, like, looking out for the rest of the season. And also Cam Whitmore, they didn't give us a timeline yet, but at the same time, we saw the 2 to 3 months, I guess, possible timeline compared to, injuries that, other people had regarding blood clot related injuries. So the 2 to 3 month timeline from mid-December when he unfortunately suffered this would put him in February. I'd like to see what we got in freaking, Cam Whitmore, even though he was playing he was inconsistent to start off the season with us, but we did give up 2 second-round picks for him, right? We invested in him. I want to see what we got. I feel like Will Dawkins wants to see what he got. Ken Lewis says he could be on ball. That's what he was like. Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said, like these remaining games, like, right now they have freaking Coulibaly and Trey in the backcourt. And, they're experimenting right now. They're giving out, they're making sure that all these dudes get as much, experience in different roles as well. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they put Bub in there. Bub and Trey after a couple of weeks. And then I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like they put Trey more on point. Right now, Bilal Coulibaly is bringing the ball up most of the time. But yeah, Trey is definitely more than just we see his playmaking ability. I agree with you, Ken. And that's one thing that the NBA is starting to catch on right now. Every single time Trey goes to the paint, he's looking for Sarr. He's looking for those easy dump-off passes. He has to get a little bit bigger and be more consistent on defense. Assuming you're talking about Trey, right? Yeah. I would like to see more Bagley and Sarr together, says Frank Potter. I agree. I tossed that out a couple weeks ago. And because I'm just like, at this point, we know our deficiencies. We know Marvin Bagley is one of the best offensive rebounders in this league. We saw how we got wrecked by big teams like the Rockets with Şengün and what's his name? Steven Adams. And that's the beauty of Sarr too. Like, this man can play with just about any big in this league. He can play the 5, obviously, elite rim protector. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted Derek Queen. We know about Derek Queen's defensive deficiencies, but Derek Queen and Sarr, in my humble opinion, it could have been a nice match together. Also, Derek Queen's a solid rebounder, Could have definitely helped Sarr in that department. Even though I'm not trying to dog on Sarr. Sarr himself is just, he had 15 rebounds against the Suns, dude. Tied his career high. Shout out to Alex Sarr. Frank Potter says KG at the 3. Yeah, and I feel like we're talking about. I brought this up in a previous stream, y'all, and I was thinking about this. I was like, odds are. Maybe like 60%. This is just my opinion. All right, so take it as you will. 60% that we draft Alex Sarr's future front court mate for the next 10 years in this draft class. Because if you think about it, it's either Darren Peterson or we get scorned in the draft. And I feel like if we get scorned in the draft and we don't trade up, then we're going to get one of the point guards like Kingston Flemings, maybe Mikael Brown Jr., Phylon. I'm a Kingston Flemings guy. But anyways, everybody else besides those two dudes, ideally Kingston Flemings and Darren Peterson, you got DeBonsa, you got Boozer, you got Caleb Wilson, who I freaking love. You got Quaintance as well, who I feel like is being underrated with this fan base. Those 4 dudes would fit in seamlessly with Alex Sarr. Yeah, power forward from UNC. That's Caleb Wilson, Frank. I freaking love Caleb Wilson, man. Sarr's not a consistent rebounder. Yeah, I'm not saying he's like freaking Andre Drummond, but I definitely feel like he can use a front court mate who can help him in that department. Which is why I love Quaintance. Caleb Wilson's averaging 10 rebounds per game, dude. He's 6'10". He's still growing. He's still filling out his frame. As a matter of fact, did a new mock draft just drop? Hold on. I think a new mock draft just dropped. Let's talk about this real quick. But I feel like there's a good chance that we draft Alex Sarr's front court mate. And with that, it would move Key to the 3. Again, this is just me spitballing. It would move Key to the 3 because I don't see a world where Keyshawn George does not start over Bilal Coulibaly. Do y'all agree with that? I just can't envision it. And no offense to Bilal. I love Bilal. But this is from ESPN. Dante Payne says we can't get a bag of chips from Middleton right now. Frank Potter has got to be a rebounder. Ken Lewin says agreed. Well, let's just go over this real quick. So ESPN just dropped this. Holy shit. Today. Bet. All right. Let's look. I'm looking at this right now, so I'm going to react to this live. Hey, Darren Peterson's been playing better as of late. Frank Potter, you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, George is better than Bilal. I mean, of course he is. No, and no offense to Bilal. No offense to Bilal. They operate in different facets though. Anyways, whatever. Give me Darren Peterson and have Bilal come off the bench. Yeah. Okay, let's just look at his mock draft. So Darren Peterson is going number 1. Saying here, obviously we know about his hamstring injury that's, hampered him this entire season. But talked about here. They're just talking about the Pacers here. I don't want to talk about the Pacers. Number 2, DeBonsa. Going to the Kings. Again, this order is just based off the current win-loss record right now in the NBA, but obviously things are going to change with the lottery. So DeBonsa's going 2. Cam Boozer's going 3. Now, in my previous stream, I tossed out this idea. I was like, dude, we know Cam Boozer is locked into 3. But not even 3, locked in the top 3. But don't sleep on Caleb Wilson. Don't sleep on Caleb Wilson, y'all. Caleb Wilson should be going 4 here. Yep, going 4 to the Wizards, to us. Dude, I'll be so happy with this, man. I'd be so happy. And again, I know we deserve top 3. I know that. My top guy is DeBonsa. I'm a DeBonsa guy. All right? Then it's Peterson. Then it's Boozer. Then it's Wilson. If the top player I want in this draft is DeBonsa. But if we leave this draft with Caleb Wilson, I would still be super excited. Super, super, super excited. Imagine the pick and roll with Caleb Wilson and Alex Sarr being lob threats for Trae Young. And then you got two sharpshooters out there on the perimeter with Trey Johnson and Keyshawn George. Like, holy hell, our offense would be like... And then the defense, Caleb Wilson obviously is going to be, he's right now known for being a defensive playmaker, defensive versatility, but he can help, obviously, he's not going to do it possibly all in his rookie year, but in the future, if Trae Young is here in the future, we don't know yet, but he's going to help here mask some defensive deficiencies for maybe Trey Johnson going forward. Dude, I am a huge fan of Caleb Wilson. Let's read what they have here. He's actually averaging 11 rebounds per game. 19.5 points, 11 rebounds per game, 2.7 assists. That's one thing that's supremely underrated by Caleb Wilson. This man is a playmaker as well. Saying Wilson has remained productive for North Carolina, and his mix of vertical explosiveness, defensive playmaking, and room to grow offensively has solidified him as a likely top 5 pick. Bruh, that shit's not likely. That shit is cemented top 4, man. As a matter of fact, I've seen dudes say that he's actually top 3. He might supplant Boozer. I feel like that's a bit of a stretch. But I think Caleb Wilson's ceiling might be a little bit higher. Granted, Boozer's floor is much, much, much higher than Caleb Wilson. Than Caleb Wilson. Anyways, this says here, while there will be important tests ahead of him in conference play, particularly a pair of head-to-head games against Boozer. Holy hell. I want to see that. Wilson's energy and winning impact, even with an unpolished offensive game, have been endearing. Teams have questions about his perimeter shooting. Me too. Something that he'll have a better chance of answering in pre-draft workouts. But he has created some separation in this next tier of the draft as a potentially versatile front court standout. After acquiring Trae Young, the Wizards are still building with a clean slate. And although that move could preclude them from targeting a point guard depending on where this pick falls, I disagree with that. You take BPA no matter what, in my opinion. BPA no matter what. And if Peterson's there, you take him. And if he is, I disagree with that. Even if we get scorned and Kingston Flemings is there and he's clearing about the best player on the board, you got to take Kingston Flemings. That's me. That's just my opinion right there. But, it's not set in stone yet that Trae Young's going to be here for the future. In my initial video a week ago, I said there's a chance that he is here in the future, but I think that will be a mistake by the front office that taking into account Trae Young's acquisition affecting the decision making in the draft. I wouldn't do that, dude. I wouldn't do that. But then again, it's Will Dawkins. He ain't going to make a mistake. Complete faith in Will. Number 5 is Kingston Flemings. I actually have Jaden Quaintance here. So, hey, man, Flemings, he could be a two-way. They're talking about his defense, too. A two-way star in this league, man. AJ, man, we will finally have a bona fide superstar. Yeah, man. Yeah, AJ has that aura, though. That's what I say. AJ's my number 1. Not just because of his aura, but I feel like this man's Tracy McGrady reincarnated. AJ has that aura. Like, he has that franchise-changing talent. Let's just read the remaining of this thing. Mikal Brown Jr. Okay. Mikal Brown Jr. going 6. He started off the season hot and it took a bit of a dip. Nate Ament going 7. I'm not big on Nate, to be honest with you guys. Where's Jaden? Yeah, Frank, where's Jaden? Jaden's 8. He's 8. Remember, this dude tore his ACL in February. They said here March, but I read articles saying February. Says here, results have been uneven in his first games back with a strong game against St. John's, his only notable showing, in which his physicality and defensive play impressed. opinions on Quayton's are mixed. Are more mixed matter than his placement might indicate, as scouts have questions about his offensive limitations as a smaller center who probably won't space the court or warrant focused touches. Granted, we have a guy in Sarr who's shooting 35% from the three, who actually spaces it. What if we draft AJ and sign Kuminga? Nah, I don't want Kuminga. I don't want Kuminga, dude. I don't know about Quayton's going 8. But then again, if we get scorned and Quayton's is there, primarily because he's coming back from his injury, like if he was 100%, Quayton's would probably be a top 5, top 4. Maybe we can do the buy low on Quayton's. All right, let's finish the stream real quick. A Cuff goes 9. Darius Cuff has been balling lately. Another guy. This draft is filled with so many nice point guards, y'all. So many nice. Like I keep thinking to myself, I'm just like, God forbid, I don't think Will Dawkins is done cooking yet. I think he's gonna make maybe one more trade at least. But if we can get we got lucky with the Marcus Smart trade last year. But if we can get like a pick 20 or 20 to 24, probably gonna have to absorb a bad contract to do so. I feel like that's our only way right now to get a pick. And then we get pick 30. I want to get one of these point guards. I mean, like, I know Trae Young's here, but stuff like that, but like, I don't know, man. This class is too point guard rich. I'm just like, fuck. Let's see. There's another dude right here, Steinbach. People in the chat keep talking about Steinbach as well. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. But the point of this stream was this 12-game stretch that we had. People right now, I want to say Wizards Nation is pissed off that we're losing. Big time, though. I would like to lose more competitively, but you know what? It is what it is. But this 12-game stretch that we had, my opinion, was imperative. Even though it's just a small sample. It's just I hate that I'm saying this, but because I don't like small samples. But this is a sample that we needed to see. Winning games that were primarily fueled by our young bucks. We didn't see any of that early on this season. We might not see this for a while, considering how we're playing lately. We play the Clippers tomorrow at 10:30. But you know what? My prediction is that 12-game stretch is going to be reverberated all throughout the offseason. Be like, hey, man, remember when we were actually locked in? We didn't have Keyshawn George mostly for that game, for those stretches games. We didn't have Keyshawn George. And we were still whooping ass. But like I said in the stream earlier on, the defensive rating and offensive rating was still mid, around league average. But it's a step in the right direction. So take it at that. All right, y'all. I'm going to hop off. Damn, I didn't even show. I thought my face wasn't even showing. My face wasn't showing in this thing. I'm going to go play Marvel Rivals. They're blowing up my phone. My squads, they need a healer. I'm going to go heal these motherfuckers. Celestial Jeff over here. All right, y'all. Take care, everybody. If you enjoyed the stream, please like and subscribe. Tomorrow we play at 10:30. I think I'm going to go live after the game, y'all. I'm going to go live at 1 a.m. Holy hell. And the game's going to end around 1 tomorrow. Anyways, peace, y'all.